Welcome back to English Flow. Here's a number that might surprise you. Most learners know enough English to answer a simple question in under 5 seconds, but when you actually ask them one, it takes them 15, 20, sometimes 30 seconds to get a sentence out. Not because they don't know the words, but because their brain is checking every word twice before letting it out. That was me for a long time. Someone would ask, "How was your weekend?" I'd say, "Fine." Then 5 minutes later, my brain would hand me the perfect answer. I went to the beach with my cousins. We had a barbecue. It was one of the best weekends I've had this year. But the conversation was already over. I used to think this meant I had a vocabulary problem, that I simply didn't know enough words, so I studied more words. It didn't fix anything. It took me almost a year of learning English before I understood the actual problem wasn't my English at all. It was pressure. The moment I needed to speak, I expected myself to be fast, correct, confident, and natural, all in the same breath. That's a heavy standard for anyone, in any language. Today, I want to share 5 things that changed how I speak, not overnight, but over months. Let's get into it. The first idea: give yourself permission to be slow. Many learners believe fluent speakers answer instantly, but think about conversations in your own first language. Do people always answer immediately? No. They pause, they think, they choose their words. When I stopped rushing, my mistakes actually went down, not up. I started counting, literally counting in my head 1, 2, before answering simple questions, just to force myself to slow down, instead of blurting out the first broken sentence that came to mind. Within a few weeks, I didn't need to count anymore. The pause had become normal. A short pause isn't failure, it's thinking, and native speakers do it constantly. You just don't notice it in your own language. The second idea: use English every day, even for 5 minutes. I used to study in bursts, 2 hours on a Saturday, then nothing for 4 days. It felt productive, because 2 hours sounds like a lot. It wasn't working. Here's what changed things. I started narrating my own morning in English while making tea. Not writing it down, not perfect grammar, just saying out loud, "Now I'm boiling the water. Now I'm waiting." 5 minutes, every single day, no exceptions. 2 hours once a week gives your brain one long session to forget. 5 minutes every day gives it something to build on. Repetition is what turns a word you recognize into a word you actually own. The third idea: stop comparing yourself to advanced speakers. I used to watch people speaking flawless English on YouTube and think, "I'll never sound like that." What I forgot is that I was comparing my beginning to someone else's 10 years of practice. That's not a fair fight, and it never will be. So I changed the comparison. Instead of asking, "Do I sound like a native speaker?" I started asking, "Can I understand more than I could 3 months ago? Can I speak a little longer before I run out of words?" The answer was almost always yes, even on days when it didn't feel like it. That's the only comparison that actually tells you anything useful. The fourth idea: learn full sentences, not just single words. Learning the word decision is fine, but it's far more useful to learn it inside sentences you'll actually say. I made a decision. That's a difficult decision. I need some time to make a decision. Your brain remembers patterns more easily than it remembers isolated words sitting alone in a list. Now, whenever I learn a new word, I write down 2 or 3 full sentences using it, not definitions, sentences.
Those are the ones that come back to me automatically when I'm actually speaking, because I practiced the whole shape of the sentence, not just the word floating inside it. The fifth idea: celebrate small improvements. Progress in a language is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. Most days feel exactly like the day before. Then one day you understand a scene in a show without checking the subtitles, or you answer a question without translating it in your head first, and you realize a few months ago you couldn't do that. Don't wait until you're fluent to feel proud of yourself. Be proud the moment you understand something new. Be proud the moment you have the courage to speak, even badly. Those moments are the actual evidence that the work is paying off. Everything else is just waiting. Today's learning moment. Today's word is hesitate.
To hesitate means to pause because you're unsure or nervous. I hesitated before answering the question. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Pronunciation: hes-i-tate. Stress on the first syllable. Most English learners hesitate before speaking because they're afraid of getting it wrong. The goal was never to stop hesitating completely. The goal is just to hesitate a little less than you did last week. Before we finish, which situation is hardest for you? Speaking with strangers, speaking in class, recording your own voice, or speaking in an online meeting? Tell me in the comments. You'll probably find you're not the only one. Let's review. 5 ideas today. Slow down before answering. Use English daily, even in small amounts. Compare yourself only to your past self. Learn full sentences instead of isolated words. And notice the small wins instead of waiting for fluency to arrive all at once. None of these are complicated, but together they change how speaking actually feels. Fluency doesn't show up in one big moment. It's built from hundreds of small ones. One sentence today, another tomorrow, another conversation next week. Keep showing up. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this helped, like the video. It helps English Flow reach more learners. And if you want more of these every week, subscribe. Until next time, keep learning, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to use your English. Goodbye and take care.